Hello and welcome to another math video with Mrs. Stricalo, and we are preparing for the SATs today. Today's method is called using the square root method to solve quadratics, and quadratics are equation where the highest exponent is a 2, okay? And using the square root method, you take the square root of both sides, and x equals plus or minus 2. Square root both sides, y equals plus or minus radical 5. Let me just mention something for a second. If you know the standard form of a quadratic with the ax squared plus bx plus c, okay, equals 0 for solving. The square root method works when the b term is 0, because when that's 0, that just goes away, and then we have this method. So again, it just works when the standard form of the equation b is 0. Square root both sides, z equals, oh, and another thing, you always have to write plus or minus when you use the square root method. I'm going to break up 18 into 9 times 2. I use 9 times 2, not 6 times 3, because 6 is not a perfect square, and neither is 3, but 9 is, even though 2 is not, and the square root of 9 is 3. So that can, as I say in class, come out of jail, but the 2 is not perfect. Not perfect means stay in jail. That's how you get one of those. And again, square root both sides, w equals, always write plus or minus when you're completing the square. And this time there's a negative sign. That's going to turn into an I, which is an imaginary number. That comes out. And then you have the square root of 9. But the square root of 9 is just 3. So really w equals plus or minus I. And then actually just 3i. We'll just space that out. Okay. Now we're going to do ones that are just a tiny bit harder. Don't peek out the answers. Okay. That is not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to cover the bottom. And I'll cover the top too so that we can concentrate. Okay. Square root both sides. So x equals plus or minus I because of the negative sign. Radical 5. 5 is not perfect. It stays in jail. Now I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So x equals plus or minus. Because you're square rooting both sides, the negative comes out as an I. The square root of 4 is 2. Square root both sides. So this square root undoes that 2. So you're going to be left with x minus 3 equals, don't forget your plus or minus, and the square root of 25 is 5. So what this is saying is that x is 5 plus 3, and x is also negative 5 plus 3. So that means x is 8 and negative 2. And last one, square root both sides. You'll have y plus 2 equals plus or minus 3, because the square root of 9 is 3. So that means you have y is 3 minus 2, and y is negative 3 minus 2. So that is 1 and negative 5. And thank you for watching another math video with Mrs. Stricalo. Enjoy!